go. Let's go hand it to him. Oh, Barry, where you going? Slick it. No, not today. Oh, snap. He's going to... What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to be talking about Chris Spielman being hired to Detroit Lions front office as he helps them with their search for a general manager and potentially a head coach. Also, what Barry Sanders' role will be in all of this and some other guys that we must mention. So let's get it started.
You know, I got to shout out DoseOfDion, man, because it was actually the first time I went live on YouTube. And, you know, guys don't know DoseOfDion. He put out a lot of good content for the Detroit Lions.
Welcome everybody to another video. Glad you guys are here. Now, we just got off a live stream, so shout out to everybody in that live stream. I appreciate the heck out of you guys. Thank you. It was fun. So we just got off that live stream, and we got to hear a press conference, and I took a lot of notes as it was going on. I was trying to stay quiet, that way you guys could hear it, but I took a lot of notes as the press conference was going on. And I'm going to talk about some of those notes, and we're also going to discuss what the role will be of Chris Spielman and Barry Sanders and some of the other guys that we will mention. Now, as you guys can see, we got the Chris Spielman jersey up here. We got the Barry Sanders jersey as usual. So we got the two perfect jerseys for this video. Like, we're set. Like, what? This is looking good. So Chris Spielman was hired to the Detroit Lions as the team's special assistant to chairman and president and CEO. So he's a special assistant. And when he was asked to describe what his job would be, he basically said, think of me as a servant. You know, what do you need? What can I help you with? How can I help you? And Chris Spielman will basically aid the team and help the team in their search for the next GM and head coach. Now, my first initial reaction is I like it. Reason I like it is because, again, it's someone that's kind of within the organization. Like, he wasn't here before, so they hired him. So now he's part of the organization for the first time since he was a player here, right? He worked, I don't know if he got paid, but he did stuff on YouTube on the Lions channel, but now he's part of the front office, which he's been waiting for that opportunity. But he said it himself, he is not qualified. So he wasn't qualified to be a general manager. And we did talk about him being a general manager. And I think the main reason people are excited is pretty simple. He was a player here. He knows the Lions struggles. He knows the pain struggles, all that kind of stuff. But he wasn't qualified. We don't know what he was going to do as a GM. And he seems very humble in saying that, hey, you know what? I wasn't experienced. You know, he does not experience to be a general manager. But to get him now involved into the organization, to get him back in the swing of things, where he could potentially get promoted as time goes on, depending on how he does this, he's going to help them with their search for their next general manager and potentially their next head coach. We'll see if that's Daryl Bevell or not. But initially, I like the move because of that reason. I'm not giving him a huge responsibility where he's the final say and he has no experience doing that. But he is going to be involved. I'm going to get some of his words on it, some of his thoughts, some of his thinking. Where does Barry Sanders fit in all this? Well, here's what we heard on Twitter. Fitz Pollard, a Lions Foundation executive, Director Rod Graves, Rock Ventures, Vice President of Business Development Mark Hollis, and Hall of Fame running back Barry Sanders will serve as advisors to the team's search for a GM and head coach. Now, to me, I read that, and I look at that as basically an advisor, those guys that help you with your search. And again, I like that. I like the within the organization. Technically, Barry and Chris Spielman to me are within the organization, right? They're part of this team. This team's in their blood. So I look at that as getting guys within that are going to help you search without, not without, to the guys outside of within. And you're trying to build and establish a culture here, but you're doing it with guys that you trust, guys that have been through it. And maybe they're not the most experienced, but I like that because if you guys know, in the past, we've kind of went as, okay, well, let's just ask for this guy's help. And he would be like, hey, I think you guys should go hire him. You guys should go hire Bob Quinn. Okay, great. We hire Bob Quinn. Oh, no, we didn't actually, this just didn't work out. But that wasn't someone that was within the organization. That was just someone who gave, that opinion that, hey, you guys should probably go hire a guy like Bob Quinn. This is one of the biggest reasons that I'm excited for Sheila Ford Hamp. I mean, we'll see how it works out, but she's clearly very proactive. She wants to be very hands-on. And what I really like about it is that, first off, I don't want to just compare her and say, oh, yeah, like, hey, you're just like your dad, or you're just like your brother, you're just like your sister. You'll make the same decisions because the other Fords weren't good. Like, you wouldn't like it if I said that about you, like, oh yeah, you're going to make every decision, every wrong decision, just like your sister did, or just like your brother. Like, no, you're your own person, all right? I get to make my own decisions. I'm me. So when you think about the Lions hiring Bob Quinn, using outside guys for advice, and they're like, okay, yeah, I guess we'll jump on that with Martha Ford. That wasn't Sheila Ford Hamp. Yes, she was involved, but it wasn't my team. I'm the owner now, okay? I was part of it, now I'm the owner. Hold up, we're doing things differently. And Rod Wood said himself during the press conference that Sheila Ford Hamp, when it comes to how they're going to build this culture, she has her own beliefs, right? She has the type of people that she's looking for. I think it's those behavioral traits which she is looking for. She has the way that she wants to do this. Will it work? Who knows? I mean, I think it's hard to say that this is right and this is wrong because you know, it can work out any way. It could also not work any way. But the fact is she has a way that she wants to go about it. And she's pushing for that. You know, she's going about it a certain way, a certain direction. You know, she's like, okay, we're going to go bring in these guys. Now they're going to get their opportunity. She clearly has a way that she wants to go about things, and she's sticking to her guns on that, okay? She's going to be the one to make the ultimate and final say. She's the one that wants to instill the culture the way that she likes it, and I think that's how it should be. If it's your team, you should make the final decision. If this was my team, I'm making the final decision. I ain't asking this dude who I should bring in, and then he tells me who I should bring in and I'm doing it. No, I might hear your advice, be like, okay, that's cool, I'll check it out. But I'm making the final decision. You know, this is my team ultimately. So I don't think it's necessarily fair to compare to everybody else. I think Dr. Detroit said it perfectly that it's not fair to do that. And, you know, we say all the time, well, they're not football people. Well, technically, they're not, right? I mean, you know, Sheila Ford, she's the owner of the team. Rod Wood, he's more of the management side. I mean, they know football. They're not dumb. They watch the games just like we do. They know just as much as we do, I would say. I'm assuming they do a lot of research. I would assume. But to get guys that are within to help out, I think that just makes a lot of sense. And I think for Chris Spielman, we'll talk about him first specifically. I think Chris Spielman, a guy, when I hear that, it makes sense to me because I think of, okay, he's not going to have the final say, nothing like that. He shouldn't have the final say. But what I like is that it's one of those guys where you can get a different perspective from a guy that's actually played in the NFL. I mean, think about that. That's a really different perspective as to, okay, hey, yeah, we own the team. Wait a minute. How would you react if this was your head coach? Would you want to play for a guy with this mindset? What about this general manager? What about his thinking of how this team should go in the future? As a player, if you were a player on this team, how would you respond to that? Because that's been one of the biggest issues, the locker room, right? One of the biggest issues the Lions have continued to have was the locker room. You know, oh man, they lost the locker room. Players aren't buying in. And we seem to have players buying in once again with Bevel, but that wasn't the case with Matt Patricia, right? That's a big issue. So if you have guys that have played before, maybe they can give you a little insight to where, yeah, the players, I think, you know, they'll vibe with this coach. You know, he gives off the right vibes to me. Or, yeah, this, no, stay away from that. I don't think players are necessarily like that. One point Chris Spielman stressed was having everybody in unison, everybody with the same plan, the same goal, the same way to get there. And you absolutely need that. I didn't feel like we didn't have that with Patricia and Quinn. Maybe we didn't. And when he was asked what he thought the problem was with his last one, he said, I don't know. I can't fairly answer that because I wasn't in there. And I think that's a great answer because honestly, he wasn't in there. So, you know, from an outside perspective, we can all have our opinions, but he wasn't inside there. Even if we may know what the problem actually was. I think he's absolutely right. You need unison. I don't think necessarily we didn't have that in the past, you know, regime. Maybe it just didn't work out. You know, maybe we didn't have that. I know there's all those rumors out there that maybe there wasn't, but maybe we did, maybe we didn't. I don't know, but I just know that that has to be a thing. You know, if there's not a clear path where both guys are connected, okay, here's how we're going to do this. Here's our build. You're going to have issues. Yes, you can argue like he says. You can argue about different things. That's healthy arguments about who you should bring in, things like that. But it ultimately has to be the same vision, all right? Everybody has a goal to win a Super Bowl. But if my vision is, hey, I want to be a run team, you know, I want to, you know, slow down the tempo like Patricia, and you're like, no, I want to be upbeat, I want to play like a college team, then there's going to be issues because we're going to be wanting to bring in different guys that don't fit for the same team. To me, what I get from this is that Lions announced, you know, all these guys are going to be advisors. I mean, I'm assuming, you know, they're going to probably get paid for that, but probably not as much. I think Chris Spielman's just going to get paid more. And I think the reason they did that, Spielman, is because they want to get him within the organization. Rod Wood said he's felt this way for a long time about getting a guy like Chris Spielman in here. Chris Spielman's wanted to get in here since he stopped playing football. So, look, I think they just wanted to find a way to get him within the organization, and this was his start. You got to start somewhere. You don't want to throw him in and be like, hey, you're a general manager. Maybe he works up through the ranks over the years and he gets to maybe that point at some point. But I think you got to start him somewhere, and this is a good place to start him. Start him in to help you with the search. See what his thoughts are, what his ideas are. We know Chris Spielman is going to buy in. He wants nothing more than this team to be successful. We know Herman Moore pushed for them to hire Chris Spielman as their GM. But I like this better. Don't give him that huge role, but bring in someone that, you know, has experience, loves this team, and he's going to give you just a different perspective on things that Sheila Ford Hamp, that Rod Wood, that these other people around the league that are telling you to hire, they don't have. They just don't have it. But he has that. Same goes with Barry Sanders. Sanders is another former player. And it's great to see these former Lions getting involved with the team again. I mean, that's just awesome. That tells you, you know, that they're willing to come back. We know there's been some issues with some other players like Calvin, but it's good to see them coming back and, you know, helping out the team again, because we know there was a kind of a dispute with Barry when he retired, but now he's back at it, right? He's helping the organization. That's just really good to see that that's, you know, been mended a little bit. So the same thing with Barry Sanders. It's another perspective. It's another guy that said, hey, I played before. I don't know if you want to go this way. I think that would be great. You know, I think I like his vision there. It's just more people to bounce ideas off that you trust. It's guys that you trust that will really just want to make this organization successful. Chris Spielman said, she hyped him up, and it was like a locker room speech. She was like, let's go. I just want to win games and things like that. I love it. I think Sheila Ford has a huge passion for this, and she wants to go make it happen. Will she be able to? I don't know. But I like the thinking of, okay, we're going to do it within the organization. We're going to do our research ourselves, but we're also going to look for help from within, basically from within. I like that. I like that idea. Get help. That's fine. But don't just go ask Bobby Boucher. You can ask Bobby Boucher if you want. He might hire some good. But, don't go ask those guys. Ask someone that's within the organization, right? That wants to be involved here. Ask for their help inside of things. And I think, if they'll put all the time in, Chris Spielman will stay up day and night, whatever they ask him to do. Hey, can you help us research? Yep, I'm on it. And, he'll be researching all night. That's the kind of thing that I think the Lions, are getting from this. And I think that's why it's such a, it's a nice move. I think it's why it's valuable. We see other teams doing it. Texans did it. Texans brought an Andre Johnson, a wide receiver, to help him out. Former wide receiver. It makes sense. Get someone within to help out. I think that's a good thing that the Lions are doing here. Now, they went and got some more outside guys. Lions seemingly are doing everything inside. He was asked about setting a culture. He said, I know what it looks like, but I just can't explain it. But he knows some teams on Sunday have it, and some teams don't. I feel that. Some teams you watch them, you're like, okay, they have some here. They have a system. They have a plan. And there's more confidence, I feel like, with those teams. You're not as like, oh, no, they're going to blow this lead. Like, you're confident. Okay, they're fine. They're fine. They lost. Okay, they're fine. It's those teams. And there's other teams where it's like, wow, there's just kind of a mess here. Some teams have that. Patriots clearly have a great culture. The Steelers, there's certain teams like that where even when they're losing, you're like, okay, they'll be all right. They're the Steelers. They're fine. And there's other teams where you're like, okay, are we sure about this? Are we sure this is going to last? Like, I don't know. I don't really know if they have it going here. It's another big reason I'm actually excited for Sheila Ford Hamp. If you guys can remember when the Lions put out the open letter to the fans, Sheila Ford said she was involved in that letter and that she's going to stick to it. And one thing that I loved about that letter, I didn't love the letter in general, but one thing I did love about that letter was the one spot where she said, she understands the importance of consistency, at the top, stability from the top down. That way you can have a successful team, and that how the other teams in the NFL that are successful, they have that. So I understand that she recognizes that that's something that the Lions need, and that was the reason they brought him back for year 3, because they were hoping they found it. They're hoping we found it, but we didn't find it. But now with the next guy, we're going to hope to find that. So at least she realizes that, okay, that's something that we need. We do need that consistency, stability. We just got to find the right guy to have that here. He's not going to make the decision on Matthew. Chris Spielman better not be making my decision on Matthew Stafford. I'll just say that. Like I said, I've said it for a while now. I think the decision for Stafford will come ultimately down to what Matthew Stafford wants. I think it's going to be that simple. Stafford, do you want to be here or not? I think it's going to be that simple. The structure of this setup will be no direct responsibilities for a guy like Chris Spielman, but he will be like an advisor of the Lions. And advisor of the Lions is exactly what Barry Sanders is going to be. So I think it's just to get him within the organization, get him part of the front office more, that way he can work his way up. He wants to be involved in this, so they're trying to find a way to get him started, to get him involved and help out. But he's, I think, doing the exact same role as the other guys will. And like I said, no direct responsibilities. It's not like, hey, you hired this job, this is what your job, description entails. No, he's calling himself a servant, as in you're kind of like, not my waiter, but you're kind of like, okay, whatever we need, you're an assistant, right? I need a cup of coffee. I'll go. No, I'm playing. But it's that kind of thing, right? There's no direct responsibilities. They'll just kind of work through it, and they'll use him for some help. And I think it makes sense. I think it's kind of cool. They made a nice little thing, a special assistant. I'll be a special assistant. I'm a special assistant, worthy material. Come on, man. Y'all seen the live streams. You know what I'm about. Experience is something that they'll look at, and it definitely helps them in terms of they can actually look at their resume. It's not as much of a projection, but it's not a prerequisite, which makes sense, and that's the truth about it. Having experience allows me to say, okay, here's how you did when you were there. I think experience goes even further than that. I think experience goes to, okay, now I know what I'm doing when I step in day one, and I have a vision and an outline of how I'm going to do things. I think it's deeper than that, but not being a prerequisite makes sense. You can't say, okay, only these guys. But I think it's definitely a major factor. So we'll see how they hire. It'll just be interesting to see what they hire and who they hire, and, what their GM will look like. I mean, I'm interested in all of it. I don't know where they're going to go with this, to be honest with you. What are your guys' thoughts? Let me know in the comment section below. I guess that's it. Oh, quick update on Matthew Stafford's injury. Let's talk about that really quickly. Stafford is dealing with a rib cartilage injury, which basically sends sharp pain when he will breathe, cough, sneeze. Right now, they're not closing the door that he could play this weekend, but they are saying they're not being overly optimistic, so that tells me they don't exactly know. They're just going to wait through the week and see how it goes. Again, I don't expect them to practice much, if at all, this week. I really just don't see it. But if we'll play on Sunday, I don't think we'll honestly come down to, much practice on Wednesday and Thursday. Friday will be a big day, if he can get out there and, move around a little bit. We'll see, though. know. I don't think, Stafford will play through anything, but we'll just have to wait and see if he will. Matthew Stafford will play, but he's dealing with a rib injury. We know that they came back negative, so he didn't break anything. But basically, it's when the rib tears away from the cartilage and connects to the breastbone. That sounds painful as heck. So we'll just leave it right there. I'm not a doctor. Don't exactly know what that means, but it doesn't sound good. So let me know your thoughts, comments below. Thank you for watching. Hopefully Stafford can get healthy, and I like this move. Thank you for watching, and I'm out.